At this moment, I was at Kelly's dorm, ready to take a bucket of pink garbage away. Kelly screamed, "Don't move." When she saw it, she thought I was going to take her stockings from the rubbish, but in reality, I was just getting ready to tie my shoelaces. Kelly smiled awkwardly and said, "Fine, I'll help you take it downstairs." I reminded her seriously, "You should put your private garbage in black plastic bags. Otherwise there will certainly be perverts scavenging through the trash bins." After hearing this, Kelly retorted, "Are you that pervert?" Angered, I immediately turned around to leave, but Kelly grabbed my arm and said, "Why are you so quick to anger? I was just joking." Shaking her off, I insisted on leaving, causing Kelly to quickly apologize. "All right then, I apologize for my jest, can we let it go now?" Ignoring her, I continued trudging away, until Kelly yells out angrily, "Do you still want that waste paper box or not?" Hearing this, I immediately cooled down and turned around to say, "You caused me injury and yet you want to laugh it off." Kelly responded, "I was only joking, honestly, it won't happen again." Just then, Kelly's beautiful roommate chimed in, giving me 3 garbage bags. At this, Kelly shouted, "Are you insane? I'm still in there." Her roomie countered saying, "You've angered the boy, let's consider it as compensation." Appreciating her help, I remarked, "This tall-legged sister here is a reasonable one." Kelly's roommate then brought out her phone and said, "Why don't we exchange numbers then?" Before I could respond, Kelly abruptly lost her temper, glared at me and said, "Hurry up and leave." I laughed and teased her saying, "Your attitude fluctuates too much. Just now, you stopped me from leaving and now you're hurrying me away." Kelly responded icily, "What's wrong with that? Am I not allowed to be angry?" Standing to the side with the paper carton, I replied, "In honor of the paper box, I will not pick a fight with you." With that, we picked up the packed paper boxes and descended the stairs together. Watching us leave, Kelly's 3 roommates began to gossip, wondering if Kelly was jealous when Kevin approached them to ask for their numbers. 2.5 minutes later, Kelly and I walked side by side to the bottom of the dormitory. The crowd outside was enormous. As soon as Kelly and I emerged, the crowd stirred. They started chanting, "He's here! He's here! He's carrying a sack and walking towards us." Curious whispers filled the air. Is the goddess really with him? Why was he up there for so long? A full 10,086 seconds. Turning to Kelly, I thanked her for the cardboard box, and mentioned I don't take things for free. We tried to negotiate a price but Kelly laughed it off saying, "What can you possibly pay me?" I responded, "Considering that you're quite a decent person, I'll pay you $1 per pound." Kelly exclaimed, "$1 for a waste paper box, aren't you at a loss?" I retorted saying, "Mind your own business. What seems like a loss to you, is actually a profit for me." We continued this banter, till I gave Kelly $50 for the trash. With that, I prepared to leave for the next girl's dormitory. Just then, Kelly stopped me with a request. Turning, I asked, "What is it? Do you have any more waste to sell?" Kelly responded awkwardly, "Not for now, but perhaps in the future, I'll call you then." I replied indifferently, "All right then." As the surrounding crowd heard my continued indifference towards Kelly, they were about to explode. How many of them dreamed of knowing Kelly, and yet here was this fellow acting so nonchalantly. After exchanging contact information, one girl from the surrounding crowd stepped forward. It was Susan, the girl whom my body's previous owner was fond of. Seeing me exchange contacts with Kelly, Susan approached me and shouted, "Kevin, what are you doing?" Kelly was equally curious as to who this girl was. Seeing Susan's flustered face, I calmly asked her, "Who are you?" Surprised by my question, Susan responded weakly, "You used to call me a little fairy, so why are you asking me who am I now?" As soon as these words were spoken, the crowd on the scene boiled with excitement. Kelly, realizing this girl was one of Kevin's admirers, exclaimed, "Guys, this girl has always been the one Kevin has feelings for." On a day of typhoon, he once braved the storm to deliver milk tea to her. She's genuinely not bad looking, the figure isn't unpleasing either, but in comparison to Kelly, she lacks more than a little. In a cold voice, I asked her to move aside and not hinder my trash collection. This sent Susan into a frenzy. She exclaimed, "You're picking trash just to buy me a Valentine's Day gift. It pains me to see that. Or perhaps you could change locations, stop picking trash around the girls' dorms, and how could you even exchange contacts with Kelly?" Susan jabbered on, to which Kelly decided this wasn't someone to be taken lightly. As Susan was speaking, Kelly couldn't help but grin, curious about how I would handle this situation. Seeing Susan in a state of hysteria, I simply replied, "I'm sorry, but who are you to be so concerned about my actions?" These words left Susan speechless. After all, she thought Kevin was merely one of her many admirers. When Susan questioned again, asking just what was our relationship, she stuttered and finally responded. We are good friends, right? This statement of good friends incited a wave of booing from the crowd. I laughed and replied, the way you put it, even a dog would shake its head at your explanation. Maybe you should focus on taking some selfies to vent. I'm quite busy, don't bother me. My dominance in this situation led to rounds of applause filling the scene. Unable to handle the harsh words but also trying to avoid creating a scene in public, Susan gathered up her courage and confessed, Kevin, will you be my boyfriend? The things I used to do were just tests for you, and you have passed them. However, these words had no effect on me, but Kelly was slightly taken aback. I bluntly replied, Susan, sorry, but I already have a girlfriend, please give up. Unable to believe what she had just heard, Susan countered, I do not believe you have a girlfriend, tell me who she is and where I lost to her. Looking around, I was about to pick a lucky audience when my eyes landed on Kelly. Kelly was taken aback thinking, is he going to use me as a shield? After a while, I turned to Susan and said, I won't reveal her name, I think it'll just make you feel inferior. Susan tried to hold back her tears, wished me happiness, and apologized for the interruption. Just as Susan was about to leave, I suddenly spoke up, wait. Susan assumed this was an indication of my change of heart and asked hopefully, what is it, have you changed your mind? I laughed and responded, fool, I was just tricking you earlier, I don't have a girlfriend. Hearing this, Susan was happy and replied, I knew it, you're such a little devil. But the very next moment, I threw a bucket of cold water over her happiness saying, but even if I don't have a girlfriend, I will not be with you. These words were like a punch to Susan. She had never faced such a big setback before, and even Kelly was surprised. Finding a worthy contender in wit, saying my goodbyes, I picked up my big bag and left the scene, my silhouette seemingly tall and stern against the sunrise. I left the women's dormitory building with the crowd of students in awe, while Kelly returned to her dorm maintaining a happy look on her face. Her roommate noticed this and asked, Kelly, is there something you're not telling us? Are you interested in that little beggar? Kelly retorted angrily, don't call him a little beggar, it's very rude. The beautiful roommate quickly apologized, I'm sorry, I got it wrong, then, I will call him Kevin. You too, Kelly interrupted with a wave of her hand, it's impossible, don't even think about it. The beautiful roommate laughed and said, well, that puts me at ease. Conveniently, I wanted to have a taste of the sweetness of love. Upon hearing this, Kelly felt something was amiss and immediately asked, what do you mean, Mary? You wouldn't be thinking about dating him, would you? I find him quite handsome, especially when he sings and plays the guitar, he has a youthful vibe to him, confessed Mary. The other beautiful roommate chimed in agreement, yeah, I feel the same way. Luckily, I recorded the video of him singing. Kelly turned around intrigued, you even recorded a video? Let me see it. The beautiful roommate grinned and retorted, no chance. In exchange for the video, I want a high-end branded eyebrow pencil. Kelly coldly responded, to think you'd even bargain with me, don't blame me if I get unpleasant. Meanwhile, I was strolling through the campus leafy lane, musing about the reward system that allowed me to view Kelly's private social feeds. I tapped on Kelly's IG profile, going through her selfies, some serious, some adorable, and some emotionally captivating, and I realized why so many were crazy about her. With that figure and that face, anyone would be smitten. Alone in the calm of the night, I found myself slightly infatuated, but then again, I brushed that idea off. At the same time, in Kelly's dormitory, she and her beautiful roommates were still awake. Oh my god, one of them gossiped, Kevin really is a die-hard romantic. Every time he prepared breakfast for his goddess, he would make 5 servings, 1 for his goddess, 3 for her roommates. Kelly asked, what about the last serving? That's 4. The goddess's ambiguous partner, replied the roommate, I could literally die crying, he's truly a love warrior. Kelly was suddenly filled with sympathy for Kevin. Why does he act like this when it's clear the girl doesn't like him? She wondered, maybe he's just love-starved, that's why he wants you to be his ray of sunlight, one roommate suggested, dismissing the idea. Kelly quickly shot back, I'm a dark girl, I have no light to offer. Another roommate proposed, then, I will go, I'll take on this difficult task. Kelly quickly interrupted, please don't. The roommates continued to tease and discuss, with one of them mentioning a campus love variety show and asked if Kelly was interested. Kelly dismissed it immediately stating, I'm not going, everything there is scripted. That night, Kelly couldn't sleep, her mind replayed Kevin's self playing guitar once more. She really didn't understand why Kevin was pursuing Mary. At this moment, I was sleeping on a bench on the campus path. Moments later, I saw people setting up a stage and went over to ask. Turns out there was a campus variety show audition.